Adventure Time has a new miniseries releasing in late January called Islands, and Cartoon Network has already released a clip of the opening credits to it. If you haven't yet seen the new introduction, I recommend you watch that video first, as I will be pausing each scene to talk and won't be including the intro's audio. My breakdown is not the ideal way to be graced by this intro's magnificence for the first time. Okay, with that out of the way, let's go. Keeping in touch with Adventure Time's veiled macabre nature, the first thing we see is a demonic skull in a tree, and while this is simply background decor and doesn't reveal any information about anything, I always love these little morbid touches Adventure Time includes in its world. Next, we see Marceline, Princess Bubblegum, and Grassfin waving farewell on the beach, and already I am falling out of my chair because Grassfin! Look at that grassy boy, looking quite different than how he did at the end of Reboot. Grassfin is not at all hostile. In fact, he's smiling and happily sending our adventurers off alongside Peebs and Marcy, so either the Cthulhu-esque presence within the Grass Sword doesn't have evil intentions after all, or Swordfin is simply able to keep his will operating above the level of the Grass Swords. Or perhaps the two are now one, but Finn's sword's good-hearted nature outweighs the nefariousness of Grass Swords? There's lots of possibilities, and I can't wait until we explore the character of Grassfin in further details, though I bet he'll only be in the opening episode of the Islands miniseries, and we won't actually see him again until it's over. This scene also makes me think PB and Marceline will be helping look after Grassfin while Default Fin is off on his journey. Next, we see a floating bear, which, I got no real comment on this. Then, life jacket wearing marauders that perhaps our adventurers will have to face at some point. We then see a character riding a bear who I think is probably a wizard, peering out across the ocean with what looks to be binoculars. The bear is wearing boots as well, and has a rather goofy face, mostly due to that red nose. It roars at the camera, so it's framed as if this duo will be further opposition to our protagonists at some point. My guess is on just one of the islands that they protect, or something like that. The series is called Islands, so I think it's safe to say our protagonists will visit multiple islands during the course of it. Then dolphins with legs riding mechanical dolphins. Totally self-explanatory. I love these guys, they're so goofy and fun-looking. Then in the storm, a giant mechanical figure emerges out of the water that bears a striking resemblance to something that Martin Mertens encountered toward the end of his story in the episode The Visitor. I do think these are probably one and the same, and it was framed like encountering this mechanical giant is the first step that led Martin to abandon Finn, and eventually become a cosmic criminal worthy of being put in the Crystal Citadel. One of its eyes is cracked, meaning something has fought it. Could that have been Martin's doing? This figure also has the letter G on it, which makes me think of Dr. Gross, but that could be a red herring. If it is a creation of Dr. Gross, though, or perhaps of other humans on the island, how did coming across it lead Martin off to a path of criminal cosmic infamy? I'm really excited to find out. Next, a parrot wearing boots. Boots are apparently very common attire for seafaring creatures. A generic sea serpent? I don't think a comment is needed on that. Then the boat. While this isn't in the introduction, I already showed the cover for the Islands DVD, which shows that the boat is called the HMS Sugarspit. And hey, this happens to be the exact same boat Jake used in the episode Daddy-Daughter Card Wars. Obviously, it belongs to Princess Bubblegum. Inside the boat are the four main characters of the Islands miniseries: Finn, Jake, Susan, and Bimo. Susan is back to her usual look, which means the Stage 2 look is temporary after absorbing a large amount of energy. Finn has a robotic arm! It looks fairly similar to the one Tiffany had, though it's definitely not Tiffany's, since Finn's is his right and Tiffany's was his left arm. So the big question is, who gave Finn his robotic arm? I have a hard time believing Dr. Gross did, so maybe Princess Bubblegum did it, emulating Dr. Gross's designs or something? Either way, it's apparently rather painful to fist bump it. The last thing I want to mention in this scene is there's a surfboard and a scuba tank on the boat, so I'm wondering if these items will be used at any point during the miniseries. Jake and Finn as little merfolk is cute, though it's interesting how Finn doesn't have a robot arm here. The two goof around in a pirate's crow's nest, though I kinda doubt they'll actually commandeer a pirate's vessel at some point, but who knows. Then Susan swims amidst interesting spires while carrying Bimo. This, plus Susan and Bimo being paired for this bit, makes me think Susan and Bimo will bond and become much closer friends over the course of this adventure. After all, they both tend to see the world with childlike wonder already, and the series hasn't had them interact really. If our group gets split up for whatever reason at any point, I think Susan and BMO will end up together trying to reunite with Finn and Jake. When Finn sings, "And possibly BMO," it probably means he was skeptical about BMO coming along due to the danger, but reluctantly gave in as BMO refused to let them go without him. And the final scene has everybody atop Boat Jake, which makes me wonder, will the HMS Sugarspit get wrecked at any point in the series? Or is this simply a fun composition for the title shot? Well, that was my breakdown of the introduction. I wanted to do this mostly because the Islands intro got me so pumped for the actual miniseries, and I had to channel my excitement into something, so the result was this video. I really cannot wait for Season 8 to kickstart with the Islands miniseries.